the high banks of Daytona. It's where every NASCAR season just has to start. It is tradition. And it's also tradition for Area to return to Daytona as well for all three of its premier series in the Area iRacing League. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn and Hunter Sleppy tonight for the second of three starting races for Season 6. Last night, the Area 500, a thrilling 100-lap battle. Tonight, it is the Area Truck Series getting their first round up and underway. Connor, welcome aboard. This is, man, it's going to be a fun night of racing. It is a packed field, and even more packed than it is allowed to be. We've got a whole bunch of DNQs. If you don't qualify into the top group, you're out.
It's one of the most nerve-wracking qualifying sessions of the season for all of these open drivers. Literally unprecedented field that we have here for tonight's race to start off the Truck Series season. 60 entries, which is the maximum. Not everyone will show up tonight. We'll have maybe one or two chartered drivers not show up, and some of those open drivers probably won't show up. But either way, right now as it stands, 12 trucks are going home, which has got to be an area record for all three series. So it's going to be a pretty intense session here for all those open drivers, and a lot of fast open drivers as well, like Rafe Slate in the 8, Jacob Bell 77, Gary Waterworth in the 2. He's always up there at Ben Pierce, Cameron Hearn if he's here tonight. A lot of fast trucks could go home, Hunter.
That is indeed the case. I think there were 60 entries listed on the website. That's the maximum that's allowed from Area. And kind of new to the Truck Series. I've only done a couple of these broadcasts, so it's going to be a little bit confusing because a lot of these names I'm looking at are listed in purple on my screen, meaning they are rookies. And not to mention, already we got different drivers in different places, like Danny Ware. He was on Swan Motorsports. He's now on Zero IX Racing. That's a team owned by Bryce Senesac. Swan Motorsports has a completely revamped truck lineup in general. They got David Weishart, Brad Slaughter, JT Poole, and Chris Seidenfeld. And all four guys weren't with the team last season, so it's going to be interesting to see how the chemistry builds up in the opening round of Daytona.
And it's going to be pretty frantic here. We're doing single truck qualifying like we typically would do on any other race weekend, but because of the DNQs here, and this is effectively closed, single car lone qualifying. So the timing screen is about to be completely lit up, Connor, as we see times come across the board. We can only watch one at a time, though, so take your pick because really all the action is going to happen in the ticker in the next 3 minutes, and it's about to get pretty wild. There's a lot of new names and new faces, some that were in the Area 500 last night, got a little bit of a taste of what Daytona is going to be like in Season 6. Only 2 yellow flags last night. Could we see more of the same? That's yet to be seen, but now the first time's coming across the order, and it's about to get wild.
And this is last season's winner, Season 5. John Hall ended up being a title threat and won his first ever Area start. He'll go to the apron to complete his lap, as every driver should do. Didn't see what time he put down, but he's locked into the field no matter what. One of those chartered trucks. I believe that's a 60 truck. That is an open truck. It's, I think, Gabriel Toledo in the 60. Yes, Gabriel Toledo in the 60. He's trying to make his first Area Truck Series start, to my knowledge. And this is one of the worst times to have so many DNQs because you only have so much control over your speed in the truck. It's all about holding that fine line, and it is nerve-wracking. That's why the duels in the Cup cars maybe a little bit better for some people, because at least you know you can race your way in. If you don't race your way in, you're out. But you only have 5 minutes to hold a perfect line. If you don't do it, you're out. And Toledo's down in 30th. That's going to be tight to make the field.
There's Michael Venable there, and then Rafe Slate in the 8. Very similar paint scheme to the 8 of Matthew Bell last night in the Area 500, but this time with loop on the side of the truck. So it's going to be interesting seeing how he's going to navigate his way through the qualifying round here, and just baffled by how many drivers are on this on this board here, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, the ticker will show as many as possible, but already 44 have laid down times, and it'll scroll on through here. But Michael Venable has yet to come across the board here. Brad Slaughter Jr. Is on his lap as well, but 45 trucks now have taken times here, and still plenty more to go.
Yeah, it was just a minute to go. We still have a bunch of open drivers that need to put a time down, I believe. Eric Wineland needs to put a time down or he won't make the field. Scott Tompkins is one of those as well. Devin Johnson in 90. Jacob Bell still needs to put a time down. Seth Knoll comes across to start his lap. He'll try to wrap the bottom of the track. two-time Area 500 winner. I'm glad he's racing for us tonight. I wish I didn't get beat by him last night, but he is looking to go 2 for 3. I don't believe he's running the Pro Series, but he is fast. He knows how to run up at the front at this track, and he's got teammates to work with him tonight, so we'll see what type of time he can put down. Don't see any of his teammates in the top 10. Just Sogak was one of the first ones to put a time down, and he's still on pole, provisional pole. Eric Wineland, like we were talking about, Hunter, one of those open trucks, he has to make it in on speed.
Yeah, and it's always interesting watching Eric go around the racetrack. You can see his head kind of tilt, so it's on the same level as the banking of the corner, whether it's at Daytona, whether it's at Charlotte, whether it's on a road course. I don't even want to imagine what that's like, but tilts his head just to get a feel for the truck, and here he comes off turn 4. Will his lap be good enough to make the show?
Eric Wineland across the stripe, and he'll join 51 other drivers, 51.022. And that is going to be good enough for 15th. And you see the hands go to the face there, how close he was to not completing a lap. Connor, that was tight.
I was thinking the same thing when Hunter was talking. I was like, I don't know if he's going to make it around, but thankfully he did. So we'll see if he makes the field. It was a pretty decent time. We know Jacob Bell, Devin Johnson won't make the field. They didn't put times down. That might have been by design by Jacob. I don't know if he's going to be an admin tonight, but either way, we know those two are certainly missing the race. The 18's down the order, Dean Gagliano. He won't make the field. Ben McDonnell is another one, and we'll just have to roll through. Gabriel Toledo is down the order. Scott Tompkins is going to be on the cut line. And we have 10 minutes, and unlike last season, we actually take this whole warm-up no matter what. At least that's what the rulebook says. I'm sure they could. I think we will go through it, and I'm sure the admins are going to try to get to work on seeing who misses the race and who doesn't.
If there's any night that you're going to use it, it's tonight, right?
It's
because
tonight.
you got a lot of stuff to do, Hunter. You got to figure out who's in, who's out, get everyone sorted, configured. Booped and punted out because you can only have so many starters. So this is a great way to start the season, though, Hunter, with all this momentum, so many teams and drivers joining in the series. The Cup Series already had a couple DNQs, but then you got the trucks, and of course the Florida State Builders Pro Series on Thursday that might also have this problem. I mean, it's a problem, yes, Hunter, but it's a good one to have.
Yeah, it is a good one to have. It shows that there's a lot of people that are willing to go out and take time out of their days and their nights to come in and try to put on a show and make the field for area, whether it's Cup, Truck, or the Pro Series. And also looking here at these open cars, some of these open cars are reserve cars, like Jacob Bell. He's a reserve driver for Outfront Motorsports. Brandon Bowie for Low Dollar, Ryan Swan for Swan Motorsports, Jonathan Evans for Powerhouse. So if those cars make the show, those reserve drivers, that's kind of like a fifth teammate for that for the team. So it could play in a big way when we get down to the end of this truck race.
Yeah, with warm-up now, a couple drivers just going to take to the racetrack, get your last bits of practice. And Connor, the thing I was watching for last night in practice, typically we wouldn't pay much attention to practice on a super speedway, but it's always about the pit lane entry. Last night, honestly, wasn't so bad, the green flag pit stops, but those were with the next-gen cars, which have independent rear suspension and much bigger brakes. You should be practicing your pit road entries by yourself and with other cars.
I think one thing that'll help tonight is the smaller track, the lower track temp, excuse me. So that might help a little bit. Like you said, it is much more squirrely on the brakes, and these tires will wear out just a little bit, and that might make things crazy as well. And with how big of a field we have, 43 trucks, and there's only 40 pit stalls, the 41st to 43rd place starters, they're going to have to be sharing stalls first to third, so they're going to have to think about that as well. But those drivers with early pit stalls, they got to get to the inside wall. Drivers who pit a little later, they got to be aware to not get all the way down, and everyone's going to have to leave room. It's going to be very important not to pit in a big pack. You probably want maybe 4 to 8 trucks in a pack when you want to pit. Primarily probably your teammates if you're a 4-truck team. But if you pit with maybe over a dozen trucks, you're probably going to be in trouble, and it might get intense.
I haven't even talked about getting involved in the big one. We saw that a couple of times last night in the Area 500, but with the trucks, this is different, and I saw a glimpse of this in practice. I think over the last few weeks or so, there was a new update to the trucks where they can now go airborne and they can tumble violently down the Daytona super stretch or the front stretch.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. We are next to an airport, by the way.
Yeah, so Connor, is that's all part of the new updates to this truck that it got in the previous build with the all-new Aero model. Tell me more about the changes that were made to this truck.
Well, there was just a lot, trying to make it more realistic, obviously. I'm not sure how much you'll see of it tonight. We did a little test session earlier with a lot of the truck drivers. It kind of drove about the same that it did in Season 5. There might be a touch more side draft tonight, but it won't be anything too crazy. But throughout the rest of this season, as we go through the next few races, like Pocono, for example, or any of the mile and a halfs we go to, there's going to be a lot more side draft. There's a lot bigger of a difference with the side force. There's going to be a lot of changes to how you race side by side. There's going to be more off-throttle time, and it's going to be more squirrely. Las Vegas, for example, last season, Season 5, it was a plate race pretty much. Everyone side by side, 2x2. We shouldn't be able to see that because there's going to be a lot more dirty air. That's going to affect the trucks a lot more, and it's going to make things even more difficult to race around drivers because you can get sucked around pretty easily with these trucks at certain tracks, I would think. So a lot of changes were made to this truck. It was really made for Road to Pro, but it's going to play a factor in this Season 6 for the truck series, and we might see new winners. We might see some crazy races because of it, and it's definitely going to be affecting this season. I think it might be part of a reason, Hunter, why we got 60-plus entries. We even had more people trying to enter the series today, but they had to get refunded because they just didn't have enough room. So it is, I think everyone wants to test these new physics and everything, really.
Yeah, the 60 is the limit, and I don't think anyone saw that in the off season, especially for the truck series, especially with the number of teams that have been bought out, like David Wise Racing, Sky Motorsports, Go Slow Racing, Physicus, and Jacob Bell Racing. All those teams are gone now, replaced by new teams, and I don't think anyone saw that coming, but there were a lot of names that were listed here signing up. A lot of rookies, like I mentioned. I think there's at least 20 from what I'm looking at on my sheet here. Nonetheless, I'm excited. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, so just to run down as we get to the grid here momentarily, to run down the DNQs, if you're following along with your car numbers at home, it's the 18, the 91, the 16, the 77, the 90, the 72, the 60, the 96, the 55, the 43, the 65, and the 6. Making the race, the 51, the 9, the 21, the 54, the 2, the 94, and the 8 are advancing to the grid from below that cut line. So, man, what a...
Did you repeat that?
No, I'm good. I mean, but that just goes to show the strength of not only this series, but, the entries and just the driver's enthusiasm, which I think is important. We saw the same thing last night, Connor, and we had a treat of a race to watch for 100 laps. So we didn't have to go overtime, although there are new overtime rules in place this season.
Yeah, we didn't have to test out any overtime restarts, but we have 3 at our disposal. I was pretty certain we were going to see one last night, at least one of the 3, but no, tonight could be the night. But these things, they don't get as big of a runs as the Cup Series, so it might be a little bit less crazy, but that might also make it more crazy because it's harder to build up runs in the trucks than it is the Cup cars. So you might see beating and banging. Definitely going to see slam drafting. We're going to see 3 wide. Once those lanes get clogged up, you're probably in trouble if you're not in the lead of one of those lanes, and everyone slam draft one another. It could cause stack ups and it could cause calamity.
And we're not going to go through the entire lineup here on screen on the bottom like we typically do because of the DNQ situation. It's not going to be entirely accurate. So we'll just let you read basically the qualifying order on the left before we turn everybody loose. Of course, this won't be probably an issue later in the season once the field is trimmed out a little bit, but we could be an issue for some time as people try to qualify in, Hunter, as they just try to be a part of this 6th area season with so much strength coming in this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hype and momentum just from the Area 500 alone, and in the trucks as well, with the 60-plus entries that were locked in or trying to lock in just a chance to race here. And then we haven't even begun with Thursday for the Pro Series yet. But here we go. Trucks are coming down pit road.
They sure are. So they're rolling off on this pace lap. And like we said, because the order will not be entirely accurate with those DNQs, we won't read you through it. But there it is on your left. And let's pick our favorites to win this race. And Connor, I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to go at the tail end of you guys this week and pick me who's going to win the Truck Series race from Daytona.
Well, you got a lot of contenders at the top in the top 10 to start. You got Justin Sogak, who's won here on pole. JT Poole always aggressive. Wisehart's up there. Ricky Springer's always aggressive. John Hall is at 8th. He won here last season, but I'm going to go with the easy bait. I think he's going to have enough to do it. I'm going with the 88 of Justin Sogak. He's starting on pole. He's going to have friends here tonight. He's going to win it for the 2nd time.
He was 1 spot shy last night. He won't be 1 spot shy tonight. Mason Kane in the 31 is my pick.
I'm going to take John Hall, the 0-3. I think he's got the skills that it takes here tonight. I think being, in this 0-3 Ford, looking good. He's going to start inside the top 10. I know how capable he is at Daytona. I think John Hall's going to get this thing done. This race distance is 90 laps, 10 laps shorter than last night. It'll be 95 on Thursday. Green from flag to flag, about an hour and 17 minutes. Might be a little slower with some yellows and some pit stops along the way. Connor, pit strategy, what's the thought here? Everyone last night kind of broke it up into a couple of different stages. You're going to try to go as long as you can, then pit, or are you going to try to break this up mathematically?
I don't think you can break it up very well mathematically. You can only make it about, if you're not saving, you can make it about 35 laps, and even then you gotta save a little bit. So you can make it 35 laps. If you're in the pack, just kind of riding, maybe you can stretch it to 36, 37, maybe even 38, but no way you're making it to halfway in this race, which would be lap 45. So you might see drivers split it 30, 30, 30. That would be my move, but you could also see drivers peel off early or run long. We might see both ends, all three strategies tonight.
Well, Pace Truck is going to pull off. Aria's Season 6 is about to get underway. On Monday, it was underway with the Cup Series. Tuesday, though, is Truck Night, and we're going racing at Daytona. Green flag, 90 laps is underway. First lap is complete, and big moves already from the 26 of JT Poole. Connor cutting down across the field into turn 3. The aggression's already up.
And him and Anna Sogak almost had a disagreement out of 4. Could have caused an early crash, but not to be quite yet. Poole leads lap 1. Outside lanes led by the 7. You might be thinking it's Scioli. No, don't Scioli yet. No Scioli this season after winning the title season 4. He doesn't return as now the 7 has to push the 26 to JT Poole. He's getting aggressive early, trying to control this field. At least 1 or 2 drivers jumped back there down the back.
And dropping back down to the bottom in 3 is JT Poole, and the 26 leading the way with Anna Sogak, and that's David Weiser on the 33 pushing on that inside lane. And now jumping to the outside, Anna Sogak going to get a bump from Ballier here and go into the lead. Anna Sogak will lead on lap 2.
Yeah, big push there from the 88, and the third line is beginning to form up there as well. That is Mason Kane leading the way to 31, and he's got Seth Knoll, last night's Area 500 winner, tucked up behind him, and then the 73 of Jake Nichols. That's a strong pairing.
That is going to be a strong pairing, just like it was on Monday night, and it will be on Tuesday nights as well. They do very fast, and we track position is going to be part of the game, so they're trying to get it.
Yeah, on board with Nichols here. This is his first time in the trucks, by the way, so this is just how chaotic the offseason has been, where one of the best drivers in the area, and probably in all iRacing, Jake Nichols, dropping down to the truck series, getting a good swing at it. He's in this third lane that seems to be heading towards the front, Kyle.
Yeah, that third lane's making moves, and here comes John Hall to the point from 8th to 1st in 4 laps. How about that? A couple of trucks off below the yellow line off into turn 1, and Hall's going to come down in front of that center lane and pick up control from Justin Anasogak, Connor.
And I think usually we see much less chaotic starts this race. Everyone kind of gets 2 by 2 and not trying that third lane very early. But I think everyone knows how important track position is. And we're seeing big bumps and big moves. John Hall almost got turned in front of the entire field there. Everyone trying to get to the front in a short amount of time. It's lap 4 of 90, guys.
There comes Mason Kane to the outside. 3 wide for the lead. John Hall in the middle. And now you got the 6 of, or actually that's the 9 of Evans trying to sneak through. I believe he's on the bottom there. But 3 by 3 for the first 4 rows now as trucks are jumping up to the top 10.
And Sogak looking very aggressive to control that inside line. But 3 different lanes all trying to find a big push towards the front. And in the middle of all of this, Jeremy Miller in that 30. Connor, you were working with him a bunch last night. Things didn't quite pan out, but he is absolutely capable of winning this race, but he's in a bad spot right now.
Everyone's in a bad spot right now. I think the only people in a good spot are the guys leading the lines, and even then, I don't think they're very safe. There's a lot of aggressive bumping, and they're not hitting very square. You kind of need the push on the left rear in the Cup cars, but you can hit squarely in the trucks and make speed, but not everyone's doing that right now. Everyone's being very, very aggressive with the bumper early on. You got two 609 trucks on the top. Miller's trying to form up with those guys. You also got Ben Pierce, an open truck, blinking, but you kind of see two packs forming. We're 3 wide up here, but we're 3 wide like 30th on back as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're 3 wide if they're outside the top 20, but nonetheless, a lot of shuffling going around outside the top 15 or so. There you see the 8 of Rafe Slate. In the middle of that 3 wide situation, there's Casey Lakatos, and actually the 32 is going to drop below the apron and say that he's had enough and he's going to watch the race from the back.
Mason Kane to the middle lane. He wanted to go to the bottom there, but couldn't control it. And the energy level's really, really high. We didn't see it spike this much early in the going last night, Connor, but the speeds are a little slower, maybe 7 to 10 miles an hour slower. That brings everyone's confidence up a bit, I think.
I would say so as well. And I think with these updates, it's made these trucks maybe a touch faster. We were hitting in the test session earlier, we were hitting 200 miles an hour at certain points. Seth Knoll's going to hit 196 in the turn number 1. These trucks are fast, and they are a handful in the middle as Anna Sogak got squirrely, pushing the 31 to Mason Kane. And you could see Seth Knoll, you need all the side draft you can get to get the run out of the corner to get that run down the backstretch that they just got. That's Knoll, Jake Nichols, Miller's at the back of it, but Travis Beckner's pushing that duo. Those two might go to the front right here, and they will.
They're going to drop down to the bottom immediately, trying to assert dominance here in the early going. We're not even through lap 10 yet, and they've driven up 1-2 to the front. Jonathan Evans, though, in third, trying to make it work on the bottom. Nichols actually going to jump to the outside, and coming down to the stripe, he'll lead his first Area Truck Series lap.
I mean, this is a dangerous driver to have in this field for everybody else, isn't it? Multi-time Area Cup Series winner. You know, he's won basically everything there is under the sun, and now jumping into the trucks for a little more fun on a Tuesday. Why not? 3x3x3 still as we work lap number 8, and this is honestly looking fairly orderly, Connor. Last night we saw the energy really get interesting when the lines stopped forming, and it was just kind of messy groups here and there. That's when the runs get really big, but it seems predictable enough right now that the drivers are falling into a groove.
And it seems like that's the case right now. You got more drivers falling out of the real main pack. Ben Pierce dropped to the apron, I think, because he was blinking a little bit, and he'll try to get back, stay with the draft. Yeah, the energy is not as big, but even at the same time, it's more than I thought it would be, even in this truck series.
We saw JT pull there, the white 26 jump up to that middle lane, so he's leaning that groove now. Inside of him, looking for third, is again David Weishart in the 33, and up to the outside now, blocking the run from Poole is Seth Knoll. Jonathan Evans in the 9 on the bottom, to the lead down the back.
Yeah, everyone's patience is pretty good right now, at least. They're not driving through the people making those big blocks, but Connor, you and I both know it's going to get pretty interesting later in the race as Kane drops out of that lead pack.
And he's an aggressive driver. It's kind of shocking to see him drop back like that.
Well, Kane led early on and got his bonus point there, so he's just going to spectate a little bit from behind, not too far behind, but from behind this main group as Knoll leads on lap 9.
Yeah, the energy tidying up right now is there's a lot of drivers that we are very familiar with deeper in the field as well. Connor Urashak, Jake Matheson, 26th and 29th at the moment.
Kind of just laying back, the Truck Series champion, and Urashak, who could have been a Pro Series champion last season as well. They're just kind of watching this one out. Track position is important, but when they're racing like this, if you don't start at the front and you can control the lanes like the 173-31 have been doing, you really don't want to get your nose out of joint up there, and you're probably just fine with just watching.
I think that's the best place for us right now. It's just watching this. I'm pretty sure some of the drivers in the middle lane would probably like that same feeling as coming to the stripe. Knoll leads barely over Travis Beckner, who's going to take the lead heading into turn 1, but not by much.
Travis Beckner in that Hendry County Motorsports Park livery, the red and black and white, right on the outside of the Chris Sports Cards truck and the 812 Pizza Company truck. Great looking paint schemes on these trucks as well this season. You just hope that they look that pretty by the end of the night, don't you?
You think at least a handful of them should. It's just whether they will, really, as we're still 3x3 with about the top 16 or 20 or so. And then behind this 3x3, you do have 2 lanes back and forth right now, which are pretty orderly, not 3 wide at the back anymore. And almost every driver is still in this lead pack. Julian Valadez, the only driver out of the lead pack. I said Ben Pierce dropped back because he was blinking. It was Valadez in a similar looking 57 truck, but still 42 trucks in this lead pack. They're banging. Nolan Miller hit, teammates hit.
Yeah, that's not a good spot to trade paint up front, because one bad mistake and that could create a catastrophe, especially going in the turns. Like down the straightaways, you might have a little more of a chance to avoid it, but heading into the turn, that's a bad idea.
It cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, 26 truck. You're like Dale Jr. on the NBC broadcast for when Junior Motorsports gets wadded up at Talladega. But JT Poole gets a push to the center, and he's going to take a big run. Always fun to watch JT's onboard camera. Here it is right now, and if he had a mirror outside of his monitor, he'd be looking in it, but it's on his screen, so it looks like he's looking at his screen still.
Eyes in the back of his head are Ricky Bobby, just like they were last season. The pushes in the middle. They just shook the middle up, no doubt about it. It seems like the middle, which is not surprising, but that middle seems ultra squirrely right now, as here comes Travis Beckner to block the middle with Poole. They work together very well at these types of tracks, so they're going to try to control the field, but it is getting squirrely. Evans on the inside. The 9 of Jonathan Evans almost got a left rear shove from Beckner.
Yeah, I'm looking at turn 4 here, the corner exit. When we're getting longer into these runs, we're about to be 14 laps in. 15, 20 laps in, these trucks, they get squirrely on corner exit, and we're going to see it again right here, just a little bit, well, actually a little bit less this time through, but towards the end of these runs, Kyle, they start to get a little squirrely on corner exit, which could create a recipe for disaster.
It sure could, and now they're just 2x2 at the front here, at least for the first couple of rows. 14 laps in, though, already, under an hour to go to the checkers. The pace of this race has been pretty good so far. I'm going to commentator curse, that wasn't iconic.
Oh, man. No, just about. They pull him. Beckner definitely. Here goes Miller to the outside to pick up the push from Zogak. He got really squirrely. You can see how much speed he picks up from just getting into the higher lane. He picked up maybe 3 miles an hour of speed just by getting in front of Sogak. Everyone's trying to get to the front, mainly before pit stops, but they're not going to make it at this rate. Here comes the 9 got shoved out of line. He's going to have to drop back and not get back up.
Perfect save from the 9 of Jonathan Evans. Going to cost him track time, but still early on in this race, just crossed into lap 15. But you saw right there, they got squirrely on corner exit and nearly created a big one.
It might be a blessing in disguise there, actually, for the 9, and it's getting really chaotic here. The big speeds are changing. Everybody's 3 abreast. Connor down the back straightaway.
Lap 15, by the way, of lap 90 laps, and I'm starting to notice. We got. I see 4 609 trucks. We're talking about the other 3. Spencer Burns, he's another newcomer to the truck series. He's made it up into the top 5, pushing teammate Noel in the middle. Now Miller's going to get in front of Burns. Noel's going to lead the bottom line. Anna Sogak still leading that top line as 73's in the middle of this pack somewhere. But it's kind of looking like last night they're forming up pretty well, trying to lead to the front. But guys like Poole, Beckner, they're going to try to squash any of that teammate stuff and try to keep control amongst themselves, as here comes Noel in front of his 2 teammates. But that's going to let Beckner and Poole get a run to the inside, as that 3rd lane is definitely falling back a little bit. And by the way, Jacob Bell just pointed out, Spencer Burns started dead last.
Take and bake.
That's an interesting last to first challenge there that Spencer Burns is trying to create. He's getting a good run here down the backstretch behind Jeremy Miller, going to try and push him into the lead now that Noel drops to the bottom. But that bottom lane still has the momentum rolling through turn 4.
I just want to point out how big of a feat that is. Give it, 30 laps, maybe it's not that impressive, but in 16 laps, just to find a hole through to go from 43rd to 5th or 4th or 3rd or wherever he is now, I mean, that is just unbelievably impressive and so much more challenging than it seems at first glance.
And he did at a good time, too, because all of a sudden we're only 2x2. There's no 3-wide action throughout the rest of the field. So, knock on wood, things may be slightly calming down a little bit as you got Burns and Miller working the higher lane now, with Seth Knowles leading the bottom with Beckner, Poole behind him. I believe Nichols is 4th in that bottom line now, as we still have all 43 trucks running. They are coming up on lapping Julian Valadez in a little bit of time.
Yeah, this is the calmest they've been since the start of the race. Everyone's back to side-by-side racing. Only double file, though. There's a good shot of the trucks exiting turn 4, but there you see just in front of them is that lap truck there of Marin that they're heading up on and could spell disaster. Well, actually, he's pulling below the apron, so smart on that lap truck.
Valadez.
No, Valdez. My bad. I'm new to this.
Yeah. So is half the field here tonight. They're all new to this. I mean, actually, everybody's new to this because this this aerodynamic package is so different, at least in the sim, from what we're used to. Who snuck up there to the outside lane? That was the 51 of Ricky Springer.
Here's another one. I think he's made truck starts, but I don't think he's made a truck start in a while, so he's a little bit of a newcomer to this as well, as he's going to try. Him and Anna Sogak are trying to get that third lane back going, but you're going to need more than 2 trucks to do so, I think. Even a third might help even a much more, but it's going to be tough. You got to get a run. You got to catch the bottom 2 lines in a checkup, really, as Noel's controlling the lanes. He's back to the bottom. He'll let Miller get a breath of clean air to the nose.
Yeah, there's Ricky Springer leading that outside lane. He's actually the reserve driver for Powerhouse Racing now, and not Jonathan Evans, as that's changed quite a bit, not only just for Cup, but for trucks, and I'm going to have to double-check Pro Series as well before Thursday night, but they're starting to get squirrely on the bottom. That was Beckner in the 28th. Had a little moment there down the back.
Yeah, he just kind of ran out of room for a second, and he was able to blend back in. But once you get below that yellow line, everybody pounces Connor. They don't want to let you get back up there. And they have an excuse because they're 3 wide. So, it's just tricky. You got to keep your space on the racetrack and preserve it as best you can, because you might not have it all night long. Lap 20 of 90, 71 to go.
And part of that is Beckner peeking out, maybe getting clean air on the nose, but I think a bigger part of that is just trying to see what's going on. You have no clue what's going on in front of you because you cannot see through these trucks at all. So every now and then you're going to try to peek to the inside or outside just a tiny bit to see what's going on if you don't have drivers in your ear telling you what's going on. It's out of turn 2. We're working lap 20. We're now halfway, just over halfway through a fuel run, I would say. We're not too far away from drivers peeling off.
Yeah, that's when it'll get interesting. Which trucks will go with who? We saw last night Seth Noel went on his own at one point, and they led him to an Area 500 win, so maybe someone tries that. Maybe Seth Noel does it again where he goes on his own. But I would expect to see a lot of these teams pit together, Kyle.
If you can do it very efficiently and you're kind of near the front of the pack, I think you can pit on your own. It's almost like when I commentate the GR Cup Series, I've seen drivers actually have more success qualifying by themselves because there's just less stuff you got to slow down for. And if you can have a clean pit by yourself versus a messy one with the rest of the field, that actually might be advantageous. You just have to make sure that you can catch a group or get caught by a group at the right time and pace to not get swarmed once you're back out on the racetrack up to speed.
Heck, even pitting with one other truck will do wonders. You do not want, like we touched on earlier, we do not want to pit with a dozen trucks at a time. It will cause crash, almost certainly. You never get away with it, whether it's Daytona, Talladega, and certainly not Atlanta. So you got to be very, very careful. You got to make sure you know who you're pitting with.
Indeed, as Miller still leads the way on the bottom, and that's Spencer Burns lean on that outside lane. Springer in that third lane still trying to make up some ground, but tucking back in line, and another truck diving to the outside, I believe. That is Anna Sogak in the 88 truck.
And the nifty lift Chevrolet, the outside of the spoiler diecast 41, and the 98 of Danny Ware, new colors for him this season. Similar sponsorship there with Simrat Market, but green, I believe, was new. And up the center of this pack, he is going to try to chase down, I think, is that Beckner of the 28 right off his nose in the Henry County car.
Yeah, Beckner moved to the middle and is just kind of going to sit there. He might try to get to the outside line because those 2, I thought you might need at least 3, but those 2 are moving with Springer, and I believe that's the 41 of Lucas Strayer. I think who's that? The 01, James Shanewolf, trying to make it through the field. I don't see the right number, but he is the 01 in iRacing. He's trying to join that 3-truck lane in the third lane as they were starting to gain steam again. And this is kind of interesting because you do not want to be caught in that third lane before pit stops and not be able to get down. So we're only maybe 10-15 laps away from those pit stops as we're coming up. Another issue of being 3 wide, you got lap traffic. Chris Seidenfeld, he's going to have nowhere to go.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting here. If he can get to the apron right off the exit of turn 4, he'll be just fine. And he might do that, but in all case scenario, he would probably just hold the bottom.
Big run from Spencer Burns leading this race in that 06. This is going to get very tight. 4 wide into turn 1, bouncing off each other. Is the 33 of David Weishart, and I think they've made it, at least so far.
Weiland did the right thing. You never want to have to lift 4-lap truck like that, but he did the right thing and didn't force it 4 wide again. He just lifted and let Seidenfaden in line, and that kind of ends that. But they made it somehow.
Yeah, what that does now, it keeps Seinfeld in this main pack, and he's still the lucky dog. The next truck is 3 seconds behind the leader, so won't have to worry about that. But he stays in the main draft, and instead of falling through the pack, he'll stay in the middle of this and stay only 1 lap down rather than risk going 2 laps down.
Lap 24 complete. We're just clicking them away. Last night's first yellow flag was at lap 45. We didn't see another one for another 50 laps beyond that. The 1 and the 33 pushed forward there. Seth Knoll trying to repeat his victory from last night. Miller trying to undo what happened last night, potentially get a win here at Daytona in the Truck Series.
And you're going to see Burns trying to shove the heck out of a 30.
Whoa, the one's in the wall. Seth Knoll bounces off the fence. Everybody scatters, and they're crashing.
Oh, this is a big crash. A lot of drivers in the grass. There's still no caution. Now the caution's out. Beckner's in it. Jake Nichols has damage. A lot of drivers piled up at turn 3. Waterworth, Case Lacatus is there. I think Matthew Batby got damage as well.
Well, it looks like the opposite of what happens when you're racing at New Hampshire. You just run every line in the grass there. Quite the conundrum here on lap 26.
Both the Hendry County Motorsports Park trucks are involved in it. I don't see a ton of damage on anybody in particular. So, I mean, I don't want to say we got away with it, but we get away with it.
I don't know. Springer's got some big front end damage. Noel hit the outside wall pretty hard. 00's nose is punched in. You can see right there on the Sim Market replay, or maybe it's not sponsored by that, but the replay looked like just a bad push from Weishart to Noel set that off.
Yeah, and I think Gary Waterworth got sent for a pretty wild ride here. Watch the 2, the orange truck center screen. Springer, yeah, certainly got a big piece of that.
Yeah. Was that the 89 or was that the 26 or 28, I should say?
I did see the 89 involved. Matthew Bappy somewhere in there. You could just it's all a stack up when you have all sorts of trucks. If you don't know what's happening. Yeah, 00 had a big hit there as well, but all sorts of chaos. Once you see one truck sideways, it just gets crazy.
Casey Wygen here in the 00. Yeah,
oh, he got a boot. He got a boot, but from someone behind, right in the, I think, Beckner.
Well, this will solve the when do we pit question. At 26, we'll see our first ones of the night. First crash of the evening. Everyone's still rolling, all 43 trucks. There's 2 1-lap down. They were before. But I think all that's repairable. Is just to what extent is the question.
Yeah, we'll see who stays on pit road the longest. And we'll see if Seidenfaden, we'll see if anyone even gets the lucky dog. If you got incidents during the crash, you won't get the lucky dog. So it's possible that either the 45 doesn't get it, or we might see the, I think he was involved, so the 57 Valadez might get the lucky dog, so he might get a big
crash
break
on
from
pit lane. What truck is that?
What on earth?
The 62.
That is... What?
Tyler Hallman.
Is 62. Been a while since we've seen Tyler Hallman in the area, but yeah, quite the conundrum there, just trying to get on the pit road.
I don't think he hit anything hard. They just locked up the rear brakes. He was trying to send it in there. He was well short. Was he well short? You know what's happening? He's sharing a stall. He might not have even seen a stall.
He didn't. You see it there. It switched over, at least for us. That's not very fun.
That's the tough part of having 43 trucks with 40 pit stalls, which is kind of majority of what we're going to see for the next few weeks. If you qualify at the back, you need to be at the very front, and you got to be aware of what stall you're going to be in. As we did get confirmation, Julian Valadez did get the lucky dog because Chris Seidenfaden did get in that crash. So that 45 is pretty much spotless, but he got incidents somewhere, so he gets a bad break. But 57 gets a good break.
With 27 laps about complete here, and we did get a lot of chance at the opening to tell you about the Area iRacing Twitch channel. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you've got Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Make sure you join today, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. And if you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to CentralMobileHomesInc.com to get started today. We also got a pretty good look at a few of our replays. Of course, Hendry County Motorsports Park is presenting our replays this season. We'll talk more about them a little later this evening. 1 to green already. It's quick yellows here with most of the field on the lead lap. A handful of drivers coming back down pit lane.
Any type of fuel matters. You probably want to, at this point, it's one stop from here, so you almost certainly would want to fuel it up to the fullest extent and try to run the next run. If it goes green, run it as long as you possibly can so you can take the least amount of fuel possible near the end of the race. You'd probably, if we got green to a green, if we went to a green flag pit stop, at this point, you're probably pitting around lap 75. Somewhere close to there, 73, 74. So you'd only need about 15 laps of fuel, probably less than half a tank, and you might not even need to take tires. So that would be the strategy there, is trying to see who we got laps down. I think Chris Seidfan did end up taking the wave around, which gets him back on the lead lap, but it puts him in a very bad spot fuel-wise. But I believe everyone's going to stay lead lap. I think Seth Knoll, Ricky Springer definitely, and Beckner, they definitely got the worst damage out of all that.
Well, that means we still have all 43 trucks so far, and there's the 43rd one of Chris Steinfein. He went a lap down, got caught in that main pack. Well, Eric Weiland kind of saved him instead of just falling through 4 wide, but was caught up in the middle of that wreck somewhere, even though, like you said, Connor, the truck does look spotless. And
Holy.
Came in a little hot there to the back of the field.
By the way, on this restart, the guy who started last will be restarting first in Spencer Burns.
So the last to first challenge is complete.
Just can't believe that. I mean, again, if he'd done it in 30 laps, that would have been impressive, but he did it in like 15, and he's just showing off. But Spencer Burns, we didn't have him on the docket as far as our picks were concerned. Maybe we should have been a little wiser about that.
Well, it's hard to pick the guy who starts last, no matter who it is.
Clearly not, though. So lesson learned for next week or the weeks beyond. Here we go, green flag, lap 29. We're back underway in the Area Truck Series.
You got a long single file line. Those are all the drivers who topped off on fuel, as I think the 45 is going to come down and maybe take fuel, which kind of negates to wave around, and he'll get lapped soon, but we're back underway at the front.
Yeah, very spread out. Oh, and there comes the 52 of Jake Matheson. Hard to miss that area shop truck as he's trying to get a third lane going early on. And oh my gosh, he was almost caught up in that crash with Brad Slaughter.
That was the 95. Yeah, it bounced off of Slaughter, I think. Or no, that was the 9 of Evans.
It's like old EW said, they ranked without ranking.
I think they're both going for the middle here, Slaughter and Van Abel, and they just kind of meet in the middle. That's something you see near the end of a race. Right here.
Yeah.
It's a great save by both of them.
And back up 3 wide already after 1 lap after the restart. You'd finally get him up to top speed at the top of the tack, and this race will be a 3rd complete next time by the stripe. JT Poole on the outside with help from the 88.
No surprise to see those two kind of working that higher line, but no help, but they're still making it work. They got to run out of temps soon, though. That's the one thing about with a 2-car tandem like that on the top line. You need to get one of those drivers clear at least, because once you're out of temps, you're going right back where you came from.
Oh, here comes the 06 of Spencer Burns. Talk about going right back to where he came from. He was the leader at the restart. He's back leading the field again on the inside of David Weishart, trying to do just that. But it's still JT Poole and Justin Sogak trying to get a run on the outside. Not going to be close for Poole this time by. But at the line, it's Weishart by, what, a 10th?
8 1,000ths.
Less.
A little less than a 10th.
That's crazy. 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide. How deep do you want it then? We make our way through 1/3 complete.
I don't want it any deep, especially when you got guys on the
That's going to end up on a certain Instagram channel, Connor.
I hope not. Look, man. You do not want to go 3x3 when you guys are struggling to hold lanes like that. I think Weishart might have got a bad push, but kind of all over the place right now at the front. It's just so important is track position with the way these trucks race here. So everyone's trying to get to the front in a short amount of time, just like the initial start. As Seidfan this time is going to go to the apron as that outside line gets another big run.
Oh, that time, I don't even know how close that was. That might have been closer than the last one. But it was still Weishart at the line.
Sidefine's running out of road here. That's tough.
Yeah.
When you get to the banking, that's
dicey.
dicey.
It's not done yet. He's going to lose a draft again. He's sliding. He's going to lose a draft again. That's not what he needed. the risk if you go to the if you go to the apron. If you don't get let back up, you're just going to be back out of a draft.
That gave me PTSD from a few seasons ago where a lap car was just carrying full speed on the apron heading into turn 3 and wrecked third place and beyond. It was quite dumbfounding there, but that gave me a little PTSD, but nonetheless, we're still clean and green, completing lap 32 on to lap 33, and a Sogak that time leads the way. Jake Matheson all of a sudden pushing him, along with Tyler Hallman. He had the miscue on pit road, but no problem there. He's inside the top 5.
And all single digits laps led here. Here's David Weishart trying up the center here. A little bit of push and shove. Watch out! Big time sideways out of turn 2 as he chases the truck across the road.
You need the bump track to be fast, but you need to time it right. Miller bumped in almost on the left rear panel out of the corner. That's almost the worst time you could bump someone.
By the way, for those at home, Hunter, sorry to interrupt. Your Connor Go robot voice, we believe that's because there's so many trucks on screen right now that his computer's having trouble prioritizing the microphone. So that's oh, trouble!
Oh, no, there he goes!
And in the middle of the field, everybody, one truck's up and over, almost.
And this is another, that's another big one. They're still wrecking into turn number 1. Daniel Day's got a lot of damage. Rafe Slate's in it as well.
It was the 5, I think, that got airborne.
It was Garrett Grant in the 5. That truck wanted to go over, but it just did not. Testament to the safety of these trucks on iRacing.
Let's have a look. I mean,
that was like another disagreement between Miller and Weishart started that. And they almost got away with it, but the 5 gets the bump and the 9's in there. And when you get someone pushing you over, that's exactly what's going to happen. He almost went over, but just got
the 81.
Brett Slaughter Jr. with a big hit. He'll almost certainly be out of the contention. But this starts with the 33 and the 30 having a disagreement, which that's 2 wrecks that have been caused between a 609 truck and the 33. But this one, I think, Weishart leaves a little room to the middle, and he doesn't fully commit to either the middle or the top, and it ends up he kind of gets lost in no man's land and starts this crash.
I would say it was somewhat similar to what happened in the exit of turn 2, but it just didn't result in a wreck there. It was very close, but the luck had to run out at some point, and it did so in the middle of the trial of all places.
Who's that? I mean, the 5 navigating the wreck after he was almost blown over. And then you see at the end some more trucks getting tangled in there. I wanted to go back and watch the 21s on board because he about had it missed, got tripped around towards the end. Where is he on course right now?
He is a little far back. Last time around, he was scored 38th. There's still so many people trying to catch the pace car. He's in the middle. Oh, there's a guy flipping. Hit the brakes, hit the brakes. We got clipped by Rafe Slate. Yeah. But you know what? It didn't really work out too bad for him.
No, I mean, all things considered, you'll take that. Right?
And we'll see, just trying to look at when the initial contact happened. You can see Miller's looking. Weishart gets caught no man's land, kind of comes down and starts that off. They were not working well together those few laps we had after that restart at all.
And Spencer Burns popped out the other side of this here, 30th. But let's see what he sees on the tailgate. I guess he's kind of alongside him. Pushes pull, there's the contact, goes through the grass.
I think he's back in 30th because of going through pit road right here.
There, yeah. Well, he just missed the pace truck too.
Yeah, there's still so much confusion at pit entry. People trying to let each other by.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, that was right in the middle of the pack, and it split up everybody.
And that's the worst place to have a crash in the tri-oval. You got nowhere to go because you got grass and pit road. Worst place it could happen almost, except maybe in the corners.
Well, another big wreck, this time a real big one. Connor Urashak is your leader. The scoring is on the left-hand side of the screen now. Sean Peachin, Venable in that 95. He was almost torn up in a wreck just prior to that. And then Ricky Springer, wasn't he involved in that first? Well,
he's involved in both. He was definitely involved in the second one. Chris Iden, that worked out for him because he lost the pack, but it made sure he wasn't in this. So he gets the pass. I think 51's going to need a free pass to the truck. Get on out of here. Front 40 cam, that thing's junk. I don't think he's the only one without a front bumper either. A lot of trucks got in that one more than the last one, I would say.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, what a mess that one was. All right, so just to update you as far as trucks, so there's about, 7 of them in pit lane stopped at the moment. Now 6, now 5. They're slowly coming back online. I don't think they're catastrophically destroyed, but there are some that are better off than others. That's Noel, last night's Area 500 winner, with some damage on the nose.
Yeah, that's from the first caution. He's still repairing it. He couldn't keep up with the pack, so he clearly hurt the suspension with that wall hit. You got Brad Slaughter Jr., who's still driving that thing. He's the one who took the hard hit to the outside wall. Danny Ware is going to go a lap down as well. Vincent Cortez, we haven't even talked about Cortez. He was in that crash. He's pulling off a pit lane as we get the 1 to green.
I think half the field's going to be single file here when we get back around because there's so many drivers that came on pit lane later. All right,
it's
Hunter.
just
So we've seen 2 big ones, 2 big crashes in the first 37 laps of this. We're closing in on halfway. Does everybody calm down now, or do you think this is just getting started?
Well, it was just getting started when the first wreck happened. Then the second wreck happened. It's like, oh, so this is the kind of energy we're bringing. Okay, they're not even halfway through. We got trucks flying in the air and wanting to take off, but not being able to do so. We still have a decent amount of trucks in the race. I want to say
all of them.
all of them are still in it.
The only truck that is currently not rolling is Ricky Springer, but he's in his pit box. Danny Ware is moving very slowly because he's dropping to the tail here. So all 43 trucks that started the race are still trying to roll, and nobody is out just yet.
I think Danny Ware tried to beat the pace car out, and I don't think he made it. And then he tried to speed up past him and couldn't.
I think this truck is probably toast to try.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to run for points. He's one of those open entries this season, I believe. He is a powerhouse reserve, so depends on if they need to call him up, but likely not going to bring that one back out unless he can fully repair it and help his teammates. He might be our first retirement of the truck season.
Well, there's a good look at Connor Yaroshak in the 12. He's going to be restarting as the leader into the outside. Sean Peachin in the 69. So going to be a good look at those guys. Michael Venable, Robert Colgan as well, raced in Area 500 last night and is restarting in the second row for the Area Truck Series at Daytona.
Race truck's off, lap 38. We're going to restart. About 42 minutes of racing still yet to go if we go green from here. And Connor Yaroshak leads them back. We're back underway at Daytona, the Area Truck Series.
I don't know if that was coordinated or not, but the 12 and 95 got going very well. They got a big gap over Sean Peachin in the 69, his second season in trucks. A lot of new players at the front as well now.
You see Gary Waterworth up there, and still Tyler Holman up there in the blue 62 on the outside. Felt like I was a quarterback there calling the huddle. But you see that momentum on the outside lane. Still going strong with Sean Peachin now leading into turn 3.
Yeah, Gary Waterworth, remember this truck was one of the ones that went sliding through the grass at 150 miles an hour in that first wreck. Here he is back inside the top 10. So we've kind of flipped the script because the first crash didn't really crash a lot of trucks. It just got everyone kind of mixed up. In the second crash, those that were in the first one were able to miss it. So it's really kind of turned the race upside down.
Yeah, and like we said, it's a lot of new players at the front with Colgan, Peachin. Yaroshak wasn't at the front until now. We got Hallman in the 62, Mrs. Saul, James Shanewolf. But you still have some players trying to get back to the front end. Sogak's top 10, Miller's, JT Poole, Balliet, they're still kind of hanging around, but it's going to be tougher to get to the front now, I would think, as we're still seeing 2x2 as we got one driver cutting out. Looks like it's JT Poole and Matthew Batby going for the third lane.
Oh, almost had a few trucks go up there with him. I think that was Anna Sogak and Tyler Hallman. They were peeking to the outside, and now we got another truck.
Again. And
keep it straight for now.
James Shane Wolf, there's a truck.
That's a 17 truck.
Crash in the back. That's going to bring out another caution. Mason Kane and Spencer Burns got caught up in the stack up.
Wow, man, you have to feel for Spencer Burns, man.
Yeah, the right front's pretty hurt.
All right, let's digest this one. So James Shanewolf was the first truck to kind of have a spicy moment.
Whoa, pace truck's going.
No, it's absolutely
drifting. It's getting a workout tonight. This is another bad push. He tries to get the lead that high line, but he was late with that, I think.
I think so.
And then just causes a stack up that goes back to the 0-6.
Oh man,
Mason Kane was turned before.
Yeah, they actually both were kind of on their own. They just ended up tangling together at the end. But here's that from high above. Watch the 0-6 is 31 center screen here. Oh, he gets hit from behind, and so does the 0-6 from Wineland.
Eric Wineland shoved Burns into it. I couldn't check who got into Mason Kane there.
Well, it's right on board his tailgate. Really get a great look at it.
I think Lucas Schreier in the 41.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And there's a new penalty point system, which I don't even know if you talked about yesterday. A little bit of a new penalty point system where you don't get EOLs for causing crashes. They'll just be added to your penalty point system. It's similar to what FTF does, if everyone knows what that league is. If you cause a crash, it's 2 points, and you'll probably get an EOL for the start of the next race. ARCA braking would give you 1 point. So I think you will see 2 drivers getting a bonus penalty point for those. Penalty points you don't want. You want to be at 0. That's good. 2 to 3 gives you an EOL. 4 to 5 will give you, I believe, a drive-through, and then so on and so forth until you just get kicked from the league.
Think about it like golf.
Didn't you get yourself 2 points last night, Connor?
I don't know what you're talking about. I wanted an interview.
You got one. And
yeah, but he did too, so.
Everything was fine.
By the way, that 51 is rolling. It's just I don't mean to cut you off. But
no, you're
it is
good.
rolling.
Change the subject. Yeah, it's rolling, but with regret. that truck is...
The whole front suspension shifted left.
This bump of Chick Hicks or something. That thing's... Robert Colgan leads this race in the 94. He's got 14 laps on his tank of fuel. Everybody else back to 13th has 5, and then from 14th on back, everybody just came to pit lane.
And I don't know about you, Hunter, but you would think these guys got to get sorted out sooner rather than later. We've seen really all 3 yellows caused by bad bumps, whether it's down to straightaway or getting caught in no man's land or right through the corner. Is still so much aggression, and we're already not even halfway, and we're over the caution total for what we saw last night as a whole. So yes, sooner or later these drivers want to get sorted and ride, but the problem is, even with all these yellows, we're running caution laps and going fast, slow. We're almost to halfway, and we're almost done with even having green flag stops as a possibility.
Yeah, there would only be probably one more stop under green, or it could be under yellow at this rate, but yeah, that's the risk that you take whenever you have these bumps. It's just the slimmest of margins, like the second wreck that we saw with Jeremy Miller, not Bradslar. He was involved in the wreck, but David Weishart, the 33. He had that similar moment. Those two had the similar moment coming out of turn 2, where it almost created a wreck back in that portion of the racetrack, but happened right in the middle of the tri-oval, and that's the result that you get. And you see the 5 of Garrett Grant again from earlier tonight take flight.
What a great shot. And then, of course, that was one of the replays that we've had. Of course, our replay partner this season is Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing returns to the Hendry County Motorsports Park on September 7th, including 360 Top Gun wing splits, Cruiser late models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, right off US Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more info. And as the trucks roll down the back straightaway here, interesting race so far with lots of drama, and it's been pretty spicy. Maybe like Elite Entertainment. Add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment, located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, which is music bingo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. Doubled up and headed to the restart here, Connor, and all but one truck are on track right now. James Shane Wolf is the only truck still on pit lane.
Yeah, and one of the trucks running, the right front's pointing to the inside wall. I think the left front's pointing to the outside wall. But yeah, still everyone running. Majority of drivers lead lap at this point. And you just, like we're talking about, you wonder if the aggression's going to pick up or actually drop at all. Because sooner or later, you got to get into a green flag rhythm. We still have a stop left, probably at this point, probably happening around lap 80. So you got to get to that point to make your strategy work. And so far, there hasn't been many drivers willing to take a step back. Everyone's trying to get to the front in 5 laps, and that just doesn't happen.
Coming to the restart, lap 43 of 90, just shy of halfway. Robert Colgan, Tyler Hallman lead this race. Green flag back in the air. Pretty much dead even heat this time off into turn 1, and I think, Connor, I think the rest of the field is collectively thinking the same thing. We just got to click off laps like we did for the first 30 or so.
It's just a matter of if we will be able to do that. You just don't know at all, but we'll see how long it takes to get a third lane go, and I'd be shocked if, with how we've ran, I'd be shocked if we didn't see one. Got one driver dropping back, and like there, you got, I think, Sean Peachin trying to get to the third lane.
Yeah, he's in the 69 there, heading to the outside of Garrick Rand, who was off the ground, all 4 wheels on that number 5 truck at one point, and looks like we have another truck going to the outside. Is that the 4 of Adam Capps in the green and white truck over there? Yeah.
He didn't get there in time, though. And now the Peachin truck is going to lead this charge all the way up to 8th place off into turn 1. And the outside lane, Connor, it's fast, but it gets very tight up here, and there's nowhere to run. If there's an incident to your inside, if you don't clear it, you're in it.
It's starting to look like your train. Everyone's getting to the top. You got Jeremy Miller coming through the middle, but I got PC Wigan. I don't know how to pronounce that, honestly. It goes wide in that higher line. Why start by now? Miller back to the front, just like that. 3x3, about 8 rows deep yet again.
Correctamundo as Belliet takes the point in the middle, and Miller on the bottom. Ed Shearer Jr. giving the push to Belliet. Meanwhile, it's Wygen in the 00 leading the way on the outside lane. There's a good look out of the back of the 7, right in the middle of that, but still getting the push in the 1 to clear down to the bottom.
Yeah, that was a big move there, Connor. We can tell when the camera angle changed. That's how quickly your mic picked back up. But now out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Here comes the 62 of Tyler Hallman. Remember, he had that issue on pit lane, Connor, where he was turned around sideways, locked up his brakes, and all sins are forgiven when you get a yellow at the right time.
Yeah, and it didn't really hurt him. It just maybe lost him some track position. But we're starting to see, we saw 3x3, but this pack is very back and forth to start this restart. Just a lot of drivers all over the place and much more strung out at the front as it stands right now. But you still have some packed up action with the first 5 rows in these 2 lanes. Now you got the 62 Hallman leading the outside, and then now we got the 7 Balliet leading the bottom. Balliet had a very strong rookie season last year. He's trying to capitalize on that. Taking over Skyler's ride is not an easy task.
No, that's some that's some deep shoes to fill in there, but we'll see how he handles that pressure for the entirety of Season 6. Right now, he's doing a good job at it, fighting for the lead with Tyler Hallman. Getting the push on the outside from Ed Shearer Jr. in the 17, and then Wygen that's actually back now in that middle lane. But they're still door-to-door for the lead off 4.
There's that 51 of Ricky Springer just limping around the bottom. And another truck
Brad
there,
Slaughter.
the 81 of Brad Slaughter. Thanks, Connor, is now 3 wide. Ooh, that's tight. The 28 got squeezed up there by the 69.
And the 30 and the 7 had a little bit of a moment at the front of the pack as well, as it almost looks like everyone's trying to calm down a little bit, but at the same time, almost everyone's got that voice talking at the back of their head saying, go 3 wide, get to the front right now. It's kind of like what Travis Beckner looks like right now. He's the dark side of all this, trying to get to the front. Yeah, that's exactly what he's looking like right now. No lighting behind him. Well, maybe there's a little bit of light. It's almost going on and off, but he's another driver who was at the front, got put at the back because of the crashes. He's trying to get back up there, find a way to do so. I don't see who's pushing him right now. There's actually no one pushing him. The closest truck behind him, I believe, is the 20 of Ryan Swan, replacing Senesac this week, trying to go with him.
Yeah, Ryan Swan knows a thing or two about racing at these super speedway races. He's had a couple of wins in the truck series at Talladega, and even on the pro series side of things. So I haven't talked about him tonight, but if he stays out of trouble, he will be a contender at the very end.
The 5 truck was almost upside down at lap 34, and here we are 15 laps later, and he's pushing up to 2nd place.
Oh, bumping's getting tough. 32's all over him. That's Sebastian Marin, who we haven't talked about. Kind of stalled that higher lane that let Hallman get to the inside to clear. Shearer pushed him through there. Now Weishart's trying to push a 17 through the middle as Miller's trying to cool himself off. top lane kind of died there through the corner.
Oh, boy.
Oh, 32 got caught almost 4 wide there. That was almost another one.
I was about to say they were getting a little bit too close for comfort there, especially with how squirrely everyone was racing in that pack. Allman leads the way, though, led that lap, and now Balliet going to try and push him around the 17th of Ed Shearer Jr. He had a little bit of a run, but the 33 of David Weishart's back up front. Even after being caught up in a crash or two, he is still inside the top 5.
It's crazy to think that all those big crashes, especially that latest one, we've got, well, now, as James Shainwolf rejoining the racetrack, all 43 starters still running. So those first incidents weren't all that catastrophic, Connor. Not a lot of damage on the trucks, and they are showing that right here, pushing their way back to the pointy end.
It was. All 43 were running. I think we just caught Brett Slaughter limping around with a blown engine, so he'll almost certainly be out of this race for good. But yeah, it's just part of the new damage model that we've talked about for years now, with how much you can repair these trucks when you get damaged. If there's a thumbs up, he's had a great night, I can tell. But you've been able to see everyone who's gotten damage, as long as it's not big suspension damage or engine damage in the 81's case, you can fully repair it and pretty much compete. Seth Knoll was destroyed, couldn't keep with the pack. Now he's able to hang on, but I think at this point, a lot of those guys who were at the front got caught up in crashes are just riding right now.
Look at the middle lane go. Balliet, Shearer Jr., they just took off like a bullet. They both jumped down to the bottom, got a little bit dicey there, but they made it work.
Well, let's just hope
that
that cannon shot wasn't lighting a fuse all the way, too, because that 28 car, look at him go to the outside. Connor Beckner's on a mission.
Yeah, like I said, they hit 198 in that middle line, and we saw 200 earlier. We might see 200 later, but Beckner and Weishart, two aggressive drivers. If you remember the truck finale last year, they did not agree with each other out of turn 4 at Chicagoland, but forced to work together right now. The 28 getting the bump from the 33 as another driver who was in a crash, Rafe Slates, found his way into the top 5 or 6.
Holy cow, this is just... Oh, you got a truck on the apron there. I think that's a lap truck. Shainwolf staying out of harm's way, and rightfully so, because this is a hornet's nest you do not want to be in the middle of, as Balliet's still leading through 3 and 4.
Squeeze in the center of 3 and 4. Beechin and JT Poole's in there as well. I don't like the look of this, though. It's all condensing, a couple trucks changing lanes. I think that was Weishart popping into the middle through the tri-oval, which is one of the hardest areas of the racetrack. You don't have the banking to lean on. The radius is tight enough that you have to throw some cornering at it, and it's narrow.
And you got some of those teammates. I believe Cortez has got behind Beckner, but they're kind of fading, trying to build another run up. And right inside of the 28, Spencer Burns has once again found his way up into his top 10. Once again from the back after being in the last crash, as he has nowhere to go. He's just going to stay in the middle. He could get behind teammate Miller if he wants, but he's going to stick middle. Going to get to the bottom. Doesn't look like it.
Oh, spin! Right at the front!
Spin!
This is going to be a mess.
Ooh, they've kept it straight for
I
now.
have no idea
quite.
how they got through that.
And this is really bad for the guys who checked up. They're going to lose the lead pack almost certainly. I don't know how they kept that straight.
Was that the 28? I think that was sideways.
That was Travis Beckner.
Believe that we didn't just junk half the field right there.
I don't know if Beckner. I think it was the 32 who got spun first.
Let's have a look.
32 of Intel. No, not Cortez. Sebastian Mera.
Oh, you're right. It was the 32, and then the 20. Oh, man.
Got from Anasogic and the checkup. Bad. This is coming through. Particles everywhere.
Yeah, I have no clue how they made it through unscathed.
Huge net code there. That wasn't even the driver's fault. That was just...
That's caused my robot voice. Right.
I mean, not helping. Well, I mean, watch this. This is feet of net code. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But, I mean, it damaged some trucks, but it split the field up, but we're still green, lap 54 of 90.
And it's put Spencer Burns in the lead again. For the second time he's gone back to front.
Undeniable, Hunter. He's just done an amazing job.
Yeah, that still baffles me how we got through unscathed, but 9 trucks here in this main pack being led by Spencer Burns and Ed Shearer Jr. Rafe Slate in the 8, still pulling through. Somehow Weishart's still up here, but yeah, only 9 trucks in this main pack. Everyone's spread it out. 10th over there being led by Jeremy Miller. Somewhat of a second pack. It's mostly single file, but that's what you got to do, Connor, whenever these guys get so spaced out.
Oh, big trouble at the front. And the leaders.
Burns.
Oh, they're spinning. They're spinning behind.
Spencer Burns had to save it. They've saved it again. Burns got put in the grass, and then all sorts of checkups
No, we're not done.
happened.
They're not done. Pack coming right through the center of this. Oh my God.
Cow.
Who is that? That's Brandon
That's
Bowie blown up.
Oh. Wow.
All right, let's take a look at that one now.
What is going on?
I mean,
Even in the pack of 9 trucks,
oh,
no
they
one's
just
safe.
They just got tangled, and then he just went for a ride.
He actually saved it. Him and Balliet came together. We'll see. Burns goes up a high side. Balliet just gives him a bad bump. And that causes all that stack up. And I can only assume Bowie, there was some market breaking. Someone got slammed to the wall back there as well.
Yeah, let's see if we'll quickly see if we can find this with Bowie. So here's the second group.
There's a whole bunch of stuff happened. Oh yeah,
that
that
was a big hit.
Holy
Waterworth
cow.
didn't check up for Bowie.
All the while,
And
we're still
it
racing.
split things up. It split things up even more. Although the main pack has gotten bigger, but that's probably taken more trucks out of this race because of that.
Well, sort of got the pack back together a little bit, even after that kerfluffle, with JT Poole, Ed Shearer still leading the way on the inside and outside lane, and more lap trucks that they're approaching in turn 1.
JT Poole leads, trying to control both lanes here. He's picked kind of middle of the road, and Casey Wygen's going to find his way to the outside. 61 of Daniel Day dives for the apron, and here comes Wygen with the help from the 88 of Anna Sogak.
And now these two are going to go back and forth. They still got some teammates at the front, some not. It's really spread things out. Maybe got 18 trucks in this lead pack, possibly. And then you got another bigger pack, 20th on back, led by Michael Van Abel, who are going to have to try their hardest to get back up to that lead, those leaders. This is the lead pack, and then you can see in the distance that second pack lost so much time. They're almost 9-10 seconds back.
And we still have 30 laps to go in this truck race. We've already seen so many crashes and then so many near crashes. Can only imagine what the next 30 has in store for us, Kyle.
It's going to get crazier, and I think, we saw last night that we only had 2 incidents, and I think those that kind of ran up front generally stayed there except until we got to the white, basically. And tonight's not been like that. I don't know that there's been anyone that's been really dominant. There are some names that continue to kind of find their way to the top. Unfortunately, one of those was Spencer Burns, and despite his damage, could get things repaired and sorted and ready to go again. But going to have some luck go his way.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he's damaged. He just had to check up so much that he lost all that time, and now he's 37th, not too far away from being a lap down. And we've done all of this, and we still have a pit stop to go, and this really switches up any of the pit stops you were going to make with teammates. Pretty much all of that is out the window unless you've gotten lucky.
Yeah, especially if you're outside of this main pack, your main focus is to just pit with someone. You don't want to go on your own, especially being that far back from the main pack. Maybe try, I don't know what the call is here, Kyle, if you're just going to do a splash and go, or maybe 2 tires, maybe?
I'm not sure. Connor, you might be better positioned to answer this. Did the aerodynamic changes affect how the truck wears tires out at all? Otherwise, I wouldn't bother with tires. I'd just fuel it up and go.
I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. The aerodynamics are going to be different, but I don't think it's going to make a difference for this race specifically. For everyone, if everyone pit last yellow, we went green lap 43, so you're probably going to try to make it to about 10 to 12 to go. And with that that small amount of fuel you're going to take, you're definitely just taking fuel and splashing it to the end. That's if we make it there.
30 to go this time by Hunter.
Yeah, fingers crossed that we can make it through a little more. Starting to get somewhat of a rhythm in, even though with all the near chaotic misses that we've had. Still a pretty decent battle up here. Got a couple trucks going to that third lane. I think it's Travis Beckner and Jake Matheson. So we're starting to get a third lane rolling. Still getting a little bit dicey. Guys getting a little more comfortable heading into turn 1.
Oh, this is not good. Lap truck right in the middle of the corner, and they just absolutely saved the field there by pulling onto the apron. Well timed there.
Yeah, oh man, he's just going to pull off.
Yeah.
And these Yeah, sooner or later they're going to have to go 2x2 or at least single file. These drivers are going to have to pit with each other one way or another, but this is not going to help.
"29 laps to go and counting down from here. 20 minutes to the checkered. Things are moving now. And the chance for chaos, in theory, is lessened by the split up of the field. But Hunter, as we know, when you're a little bit more comfortable and confident, when you can't fall 15 spots, you only drop 5 or 6, you might be more aggressive with some of those moves you're making.
I think he said he'd be back, but definitely you got to think about the moves you're making. Certainly, I think most drivers know what works and what doesn't at this point. Sooner or later, you're going to have to throw that out the window, but as we've seen, it almost seems like nothing's stayed in the window. Everything's been thrown out of the house at this point, as far as what moves you can make and what you can't do. As we've gotten away with maybe 3 or 4 crashes this run alone, on top of the 3 or 4 we've already had. And,
yeah, I think that's the important thing to remember, is that we could have had more yellows. So when we think about the end of the race, Connor, and the new green-white checker procedure, I would want to make sure I've got some fuel for that as well.
That's an issue as well. If we did not have that race code green in regulation last night, me, Jeremy, and a few others were going to be very, very close on fuel. So that is also another thing drivers are going to be thinking of. But at the same time, you're still trying to get the least amount of fuel in the truck possible so you can get the track position for the final 10, 12 lap run of the race. So it's really just a gamble if you're going to take the fuel and hope for the green-white checkers and people running out, or if you're going to under-fuel it, hope it doesn't go to overtime, and just be able to be at the front.
Across the start-finish line and just clicking laps away. Travis Beckner is out in command. He's been in a couple of incidents tonight, smaller ones, but has managed to salvage it. What a night he's had. Started 11th, as low as 41st in the running order, and as high as the lead where he is right now.
Man, he's finally found a little bit of a home up here as well, as has Jeremy Miller, who somehow found his way back into the top 5 through everything that's happened. And it took 3 or 4 mini crashes, but at least in this front pack, things have maybe gotten a little bit more calm, as we're now about 18 trucks deep, including the lap truck of Spencer Burns, and trying to keep tabs on the progress of the second pack. That pack's led by Venable, Mason Kane, and John Hall, 18th on back. They're trying their hardest to gain time, and last time by, they were maybe even with the front pack. They got a tall task to catch up with almost 25 laps to go, as you don't even see them in the same frame almost. In fact, you don't see them.
25 laps to go next time by. And I think everyone's kind of looking calmer because they're all kind of playing for the same team right now. They're all trying to get organized so that they can make this pit stop procedure as clean as possible. Most of the drivers in the top 10 have either 24 or 29 laps on their tank of fuel. So they are now past the halfway point of this run and could, in theory, come to pit lane at any moment. And I imagine the next few minutes we'll probably hear those radios start to call out as drivers make their plans.
I'm trying to even see if there are any affiliated teammates in packs together. I know Jeremy Miller has Spencer Burns, who's a lap down, but that's all the help he would have. I do see some teammates, Tyler Hallman and Ryan Swan. Rafe Slate, not sure if he has any help, but that's the thing about what's happened. It's really split teams up in a big way.
Pulling even now down the back straightaway. Miller on the bottom, tasting the lead once again tonight. And so far this evening, he's already led 5. I'd like to add to that total right now. And on the left-hand side of your screen, those that have led different lap counts.
A lot of single digits. That's how crazy it's been. Anna Sogak, Travis Beckner, Wygant. He's led at least 1, and Evans is back at the front after everything he's been through. It seems like so many drivers, maybe at least a dozen, as now Matheson goes to try to lead his first lap this time by. Seems like so many drivers has gone back to front tonight.
Yeah, this is interesting because I'm looking here at the winning history from the Truck Series at Daytona. Each driver that's won a race here in the Truck Series at Daytona, double-digit lap-led figures. So could see that change tonight with a lot of these single-digit lap-led counters, but still have over 20 laps to go, Kyle. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some drivers with double-digit figures, but will they be up front at the very end?
Well, one driver already does. That's Seth Knoll. He's led 11 tonight. But most everyone else has only led a handful here and a handful there. And this second pack is pretty sizable. It's basically John Hall on back. Patrick Moose, Michael Venable, Eric Wineland, all in this group. And 7 seconds back, Connor, we saw how hard last night the field had to work to close the gap to the lead pack. They're going to need probably a bit more than some pace and luck here.
They have been faster for the majority. I believe they were maybe 10 seconds back. That gap is down to about 7 to 8 seconds, but they're not gaining too fast. And at this rate, I'm not sure if they'd make it. It would be very, very close, just like it was going to be last night before the crash happened. But green flag pit stops, if we get there, would really switch things up and really jumble the packs even more. So we got to get to that before we can see if that second pack can make up any ground. But they've been trying to swap the leaders out. John Hall's trying to lead that pack, and they're trying to make sure no damaged trucks are leading that pack. That's very important as well.
Looking out the back of Jake Matheson, the Season 5 truck winner, or truck champion, I should say. He's got Jeremy Miller and Jonathan Nevins behind, but there you see on that outside lane, still creeping, even though we're getting a massive push down the backstretch. JT Poole, and just as I say that, everyone ducks to the bottom. Could see pit stops coming, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you see it. Like I said, everyone's kind of playing on the same team, and this is when you're going to see that. And it is when everyone gets down to this bottom lane to facilitate pit stop sequence. Not this time, but perhaps next. And then I imagine the second pack is going to do the same, and maybe we'll see some hit now. No, they're going to wait a few more.
It says, I'm surprised they kind of went single file. I don't know if this is going to be faster, to be honest. They ran majority, maybe average, this lead pack average maybe 46 4s, 46 5s. That second pack going 2x2, majority 46 2s, 46 3s. They are still gaining, but they are still so far behind it doesn't matter. I think in these trucks and even the Pro Series cars, you would want to be 2x2. Side draft doesn't slow you down as much as it does in the Cup cars. So a single file line, there's almost too many stack ups in the trucks to go fast while doing this. So I would not be shocked if they got 2x2 again just to keep better speed, as looks like 00 Casey Wygen's coming down with Anna Sogak, 2 teammates.
Oh, and no one from the second pack has chosen to come this time. 20 laps to go, though. I would like to have at least a few so I can get reorganized and potentially navigate any issues that come afterwards. I don't love waiting super long. I would have already been, planning on coming down. I know you can fuel less time and whatnot, but I want to have time to maneuver.
I don't like pitting early with just 2 people like that as well. If you're going to pit with just 2 of you, you got to do it a little later. Sounds like Edward Shear is coming in. It sounds like a lot of people from this front pack might be coming in this time, Hunter.
Oh boy, you're going to have to make sure you get it down to pit speed and not hit anyone in the process.
This is almost everyone.
Oh, who was that green truck back there? Bright green. Holy cannoli.
Oh, he might have made it work, but you got to get sorted out. Make sure you get in their stalls. They're still 3x3. Everyone's trying to make it to their stalls without wrecking each other. I think they've made it. I think some drivers missed their stall. Maybe not. They might have gotten away with it.
Tyler Holman.
He did it again, but he made it that time.
At least they're in the lead pack, right? So they've got a little time to burn. It's not like they're going to get chucked into oblivion, but you still need to execute at every moment. Any track position now that you lose, you're going to have to make it up in the last 15 laps of this race, and we know how hard that is.
And it seems like there was a lot of 2-tire calls there, but what's happened, they've come out pretty strung out, in my opinion. Balliet, Rafe Slate, side by side. You got Weishart having to get back in line. Looks like Travis Beckner's going to lose this pack, as here comes the next lead pack. Evans, Peach, and Strayer. Spencer Burns, Lakatos is in there. The second pack goes by. They had a few pitters as well, I believe.
Spin.
Spin!
Poseidon.
Man, that's unfortunate.
Only one. That was a lot of drivers from the second pack. Schaefer, Garrett Grant's in there. Eric Wineland was pitting as well.
Boy, I was looking at Spencer Burns in the 06, just slowing down and trying to not hit anyone. It was close there, but he made it work. As looking back at this, what is presumed to be main. Actually, no, these guys still have to pit.
Yeah, you'll see the stint laps there. Anyone that has anything more than about 3 or 4 still owes us a pit stop here. John Hall leads the way out of turn 4, and nobody from this group decides to come this time.
And I think at this point, the strategy for all these drivers in this pack, the top 10 plus a few more, I think at this point they're going to run this long and just try to take the least amount of fuel possible and maybe get track position in doing that. John Hall, Van Abel, Euroshack, Nichols, and Knoll are in here as well with Mason Kane. So there's a lot of heavy hitters trying to make this strategy work now, as they're pretty single file now.
And John Hall, with one of his fans in the background there, kind of came on the scene out of nowhere. Very early on, I kind of joked that it's Area's John King moment because his name was John Hall. Won at Daytona, and it was just like, who is this guy? He just showed up out of nowhere, but he is a force to be reckoned with, and he could go back-to-back here. Still has to make a pit stop, though, but they're catching up, I would say, lap traffic, but these guys have already pitted.
Yeah, it's gonna stunt the momentum of this group, though. They didn't really get around it very efficiently, did they? While they are still leading, it slowed them up just a bit.
Gosh.
Next time by to 15 laps to go. We're really down in the the ninth inning here, so top of the ninth for the most part. So you better start getting yourself sorted. Except I don't know if you don't really know where you stand just yet.
We know where the drivers who pit stand for the most part. Looks like Jonathan Evans is leading what would maybe cycle out to be the lead pack. And then there's a second line led by Case Lakatos who have fallen off of those guys. So that pack is split a little bit as well as we wait to see if John Hall pits. And it looks like majority of this pack's coming down.
Oh boy, gonna have to get her load down.
I think I sped there.
The
Mason
12.
Kane.
Yeah. Oh, poor Mason Kane.
And Euroshack might have missed a stall.
Yeah, well,
I think there was a lot of issues that one.
Yeah, and again, this is what we talked about earlier. I'd rather have a clean stop with just one other truck than a messy one with 10 other trucks. So those that pit earlier in a pair, it might not be all that bad if they can salvage a decent sequence out of it.
Mason Kane, oh gosh, Mason Kane's still trying to get into a stall. He's stuck against the inside wall. But it seems like majority of the drivers on that pack might have taken only fuel. But you can see that pack that already pit, Jonathan Evans, Jake Matheson. I think they're going to blow by these guys.
Yeah, they should. Big head of steam here.
Noel just made a pass on the apron on Matthew Patby. That's not something you see every day.
Get up and go. Time to race.
Yeah, you can tell they didn't take tires because they are struggling on pit exit. Watch the rejoin, Patby. He just almost came up in front of Matheson. But that is definitely the pack to beat right now. I don't think there's going to be any more drivers joining that for now.
Yeah, that was a little too close for comfort there. These guys still dueling it out neck and neck for what could presumably be the race for the win, as Evans on the outside, Matheson on the inside of 15 laps to go from the Area Truck Series at Daytona.
Ooh, it's tight between these front two. Almost banging doors. 14 laps left. Lap 77 of 90. This is getting tight between these two up at the front and a handful of those behind. It's about an 8-car group, and it's a second and a half back to last night's Area 500 winner, Seth Knoll. He's got another group of about a little more than a dozen trucks in his tow.
And they're going 196 down the back, so those guys are definitely about to catch this lead pack and make it a big party. Knoll pushed by Batby. It's working out very well so far, no doubt. As I'm trying to look at the team games that are happening right now, I know the pushers in both lanes at the front are Lucky Ducks and Shearer and Balliette, so that could play into their hands as well. But you also got Seth Knoll coming up here. He has Spencer Burns and Jake Nichols to help him possibly.
Best lap of the race for him, 45.691, 195.3 miles an hour at lap 78 of this race.
They're going to go to the outside as well, Hunter. Everyone's going to try to get to that third lane. We know how the ends of these races go. Once those 3 lanes stack up, you got nowhere else to go. You pretty much got to hold your line. Knoll's going to get pinched to the bottom here.
Yeah, Wygen and the 00 kind of made that a little more difficult for everyone trying to navigate their way through, but he'll be able to regroup on the middle lane. I was going to say bottom lane, but there he goes, rejoining the group still. Evans on the outside, Matheson on the inside. That third lane starting to gain momentum with JT Poole.
Man, just clicking laps away so quickly, and now it's a 3-wide mess again like it was 15 laps ago. Yes?
I'm just trying.
Oh.
Watching my thing.
I thought you were trying to talk, and then you roboted, and I think you're back now.
The world.
Oh, no, it's the pack's back together again, apparently.
It's like that song that begins "When Worlds Collide." That's Connor Horn right now. He's just stuck in that robot voice because of the pandemonium of trucks here. Look at the middle lane. We got the Hendry County Motorsport trucks. Marin and that is Battenby leading the way. Here comes JT Poole on the outside. That is John Hall pushing through on the outside lane, and first lap led of the night for Matthew Battenby.
It will be 11 laps to go in 8 minutes, or maybe a few more. We'll know who wins this race, but are we going to get there under green? 3 wide, 5 deep as they rocket onto the Daytona Super Stretch.
I'm almost positive the last 2 races in this truck series we've done at Daytona have ended in green, white checkered. So I'm willing to bet no as lap traffic gets in the way. One of those teammates to Bat B got out of the way. I think that might have been Cortez. Yes, it was.
That was Pacey Wygen in the 0-0 that nearly got collected in the crash, got him into turn 3. But now JT Poole finds himself at the front of that pack, leading the way. 10 to go at the line.
10 laps to go, 25 miles here at Daytona. Pacey Wygen almost ended up on his lid in turn 3, and he turned left another 6 inches. And then now the challenge is, you know, if you've got momentum, if you've got to run, even if you've got a teammate with you, where are you going to go, right? I mean, it's so challenging to make up any kind of ground when you're 3 wide, you know, this deep.
You can't go anywhere. You're just kind of stuck at this point. That's what we were talking about. You have to be one of the first drivers to get to that outside lane or the middle lane even. If you don't get up there to lead or maybe be one of the first 3 in that lane, your chance for winning, unless there's a crash and you somehow avoid it, your chance for winning are almost done. Poole got a bump from, I think, the 32 there of Marin, pushed him up the track into the 0-0 of Wygen. Now JT Poole's just trying to figure out which lane to block for these last 9 laps.
There's a great view of the in-sim and the rear view camera of JT Poole. He's kind of controlling this race from the middle groove. Can't really go to the bottom. That's what he sees out the front of his windshield, but out the back, it's a whole lot more hectic.
It is. I mean, this crazy contrast between what he's got out front, what he's got out back. You know, normally racers would tell you, focus out the windshield, don't get worried about what's behind you, but here, you have to basically drive in your mirrors the entire time. And it's not all about reaction. You have to plan. You have to be proactive about where you're putting the truck and sense the momentum coming. Without a spotter to help you, you know, plan for those moves, it's the driver doing all that in the cockpit.
And how hard it is to make up spots once we get 3x3. Every time you get clear to a lane, you almost got to take it. Batby's clear right now across all 3 lanes. If one of those lanes gets a run, he has to be proactive. He has to get to the outside or middle. Poole's going to block that for now. They might be working together as well. Mason Kane's not going to pull to the apron. This will get tight this time.
Oh, there they go. 33's in the fence. Crash. Turn 2.
Mason Kane's involved. Oh my gosh, the lap truck of Mason Kane caused that entire thing. Everyone was checking up. No one was going to stay behind him, and it created a multi-car wreck in turn 2.
Having Robert Gaba flashbacks.
Yeah, I mean, get it. Everyone's racing, but at some point, right, you got the field 3 wide, 8 laps to go behind you. You know, it would be wiser to, you know, think of all the other 30 drivers. But, you know, the racetrack is for everybody. I wouldn't draw the line there myself, but, you know, what it is.
He has every right. He's going only 1 down there, so he has every right to hold it and try to... He's going to have to battle, I think, the 06 who's in this pack anyways. And then you see, I think it happens with Miller and Weisart again because of everyone moving up for Mason Kane. They just... Yeah, they kind of ran out of room. Yep. And then the 7 and the 31 got hooked. They had an incredibly hard hit.
Oh, the 8 got hooked by the 1.
Oh, that
in a big way.
I don't think he was happy about it either.
No, they were, because they probably would have made it through, I think. Watch the 8 and the 1 here.
And watch this. I watched 7 and 31 hit 2. Yeah, the 69 they got the 7 into him.
Yeah, but then so the 8 and the 1 are through it, and then the 1 turns left.
He kind of panicked to avoid the big crash, and then Rafe was just an innocent bystander. Eric Wineland can't survive. Here goes Miller into the wall. Bam. And that took out so many of the lead pack guys that the guys in the second pack or out of the draft, like Danny Ware, Drew Trader, they're going to benefit from this.
Don Hall had an interesting perspective in that 0-3. I'm trying to find where he is on the timing and scoring right now in his current spot. Hall has scored 36th. Here's what he saw. He just kind of got pinned against the fence.
Yeah. Nothing he can do.
I mean, he didn't take huge hits because of that. He was already near the wall. I guess that's the one silver lining to being next to it. Can't gather all that much sideways momentum to hit it that hard.
A lot of damage to the back bumper. I think the right side scuffed up. He's still getting pinned into the wall like that. It's going to damage you up big time. Miller's destroyed. 33, the 8, the 1. This took out a lot of drivers from contention.
And again, going back to the incident, right? Like, you know, the rule in racing in general is that everyone's got a right to be on the racetrack, but you know, there is a gentleman's rule that, you know, if you're not in the hunt, especially at a super speedway when the field's 3 wide, 6 deep, it would just be probably smarter to reserve that and pull to the apron or time it so that you land on a straightaway. But you can't entirely blame the 31, right? I mean, it's not like he did anything wrong, but no. you just can wish that the next time he might do something different.
Yeah, he held his line. It's just, you don't have room for 4 wide at Daytona. We barely got away with it earlier with Chris Seidenfaden. You just aren't able to make that work. And yeah, he got caught in a bad spot in the corner, and the issue with him was he needed to stay in that pack to battle Spencer Burns for a potential lucky dog. So he is still racing his own race. He had every right to do that. It's better than holding the outside.
Well,
like we saw a few years
that's
back,
the thing, right? At the end of the day, did nothing wrong. But I think all the drivers will go, man, I wish he didn't do that. And then he'll say, do what? And then, exactly. So that's
exactly what he said. He said, I held my line.
Right. So, I mean, it's just all part of it, right? I mean, there was going to be a crash. How it was triggered, it's always a mystery, but there's no way we were getting to lap 90 like that. We're going to be 5 laps to go this time through. So while we've got a moment, the High Banks Podcast, just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter. New episode with Jacob Bell coming soon. And the High Banks Podcast is available on Spotify. And, of course, head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauce that's made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home that $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standing.
This has really shuffled things up. We're going to go green with about 4 laps to go, so still not in green-white checker territory yet, Hunter, but that didn't really change many of the players. JT Poole, Matthew Batby are going to stay at the front. Marin and Evans stay up there. So some of the drivers who were in that lead pack were able to escape. This does give new life to Jake Nichols, who gets into the 8th position. Jake Matheson about 9th. Case Lakatos is into the top 10. So most of the front runners have some new players. But there are some guys in row 5, row 4 on back that are going to have to charge very quick.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go all out offense, all verts. That's a football reference. Well, close enough. Hail Mary, basically. You're within the final 5 laps. You're going to get 4 laps. At minimum, we could see, probably will see green-white checker attempts, whether it's the first one, the second one, or the third one. We don't know, but this should be a pretty chaotic restart. I would expect to see 3 wide almost immediately in turn 1.
By the way, quick note, Spencer Burns did get the free pass out of that.
Man, well, he only has about a third of the time that he had at the start of the race, but he's also not dead last, so don't count him out. Especially with those green-white checkers, he will be on a mission. I think he's actually led a number of laps. 15, that's a lot.
JT Poole.
So, oh, sorry. I was looking for the 06. Where did he end up? 7. Okay, not as many, but still more than most.
If Poole picked the outside here, he might get down in front of Batty.
Here, little check up there in the inside line in the background, but 4 laps to go from Daytona in the Area Truck Series. Season 6 inaugural race, we're underway. JT Poole, pretty good restart there in that 26. Batby on the bottom. And now Batby pulls ahead with assistance from the 9, Jonathan Evans, who started this race up in row 3.
Nick went to the inside, so he's going to try and push in the inside. You see that run that Marin and Wagen, or the JT 3 truck there, comes the 4th truck. Sean Heaton's going to try to get up there.
As the trucks get up to speed, it gets harder for Connor Horn to stay with us just because the intensity has riled up. All the trucks are going full blast, Kyle, and JT Poole's trying to lead the way, coming to 3 to go.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Connor, you might think it is, but it is funny. We can tell when there's restarts and when the camera view changes and whatnot when it does. 3.
Oh, we got a crash. Whoa, there's a flip and turn in the trial. James Shane Wolf and Patrick Moose crashed. I saw coming over. We stay green.
We will stay green. Was Shane Wolf the one upside down? I'll mark that and look at it later. We've got a race going on up at the front. JT Poole throws a block on Matthew Batby, who goes to the right, and big runs coming now for the top spot hunter off into turn 3.
Almost got bad there for Jonathan Evans. Had to check up on the inside lane. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, NG County Motorsports Park trucks 1-2. Batby to the inside. Sebastian Marin with Pacey Wygen pushing him through. Here's Jake Matheson behind, trying to get that outside lane rolling. Just 2 laps to go from Daytona.
5 miles left here at Daytona, and if we can make it another 2.5, we're going to make it green to the end
chance. Here. I gave it a fat chance. Batby's gonna have a run through the center of the corner here. It's oh man, get it right.
Oh, big wiggle.
Here comes Batby went up, and here comes Poole down low, side by side. It's a drag race down the backstretch. No one's making it 3 wide just yet. A couple of trucks doing so outside the top 10, but Batby leads through into turn 3.
Into turn 3 now. Can we make it another half mile and finish this race under green? They're 3 wide in the background. Batby trying to be the first one to see the white flag waving from the main flag stand here, Connor. 1 lap to go.
And it is all hands on deck in these front 2 lanes. There's really not much energy. Not enough for a 3rd lane at this point. I don't think they can do it.
Through turn 1 for the final time. Batby leads.
Oh, they spin!
Batby gets spurred! Oh my gosh, he's on his side. A massive wreck in turns 1 and 2. Jonathan Evans for the lead with Jake Nichols in second.
Nichols isn't going to have a push, though. He's going to have to use the run to his advantage. You can see Evans breaking the draft here down the back straightaway, but Nichols isn't going to have a push, but he will have a run with the draft. He has 1 chance to make this move out of turn number 4.
He's got a run coming. Everybody's in it out of turn 2. It's a huge crash. Jonathan Evans is trying to hold on. Jake Nichols with a big run. Checkered flag is waving. Nichols is coming. Here we go to the checkers of the Area Truck Series. Side by side, they crash. They're banging doors. Evans and Nichols to the line.
Nice.
Evans snags it by 21 thousandths of a second.
What a finish. You knew it was going to come down to that. 2/100ths of a second. And then once again, a first-time starter gets the checkered flag.
There were close battles behind as well that we'll have to review. But the one thing that we'll absolutely have to look at is the enormous crash out of turn 2 on the back straightaway. Cars upside down in the catch fence. But Jonathan Evans from 6th to win it.
And last lap, all bets are off. Every man for himself, and Jonathan Evans, the seas parted through. They're still wrecking down the backstretch. Jeremy Miller. Not sure what's going on there, but every man for himself. The seas parted for Jonathan Evans, and he was just barely able to hold off Jake Nichols, who almost won in his first area truck start.
He took him all the way to the fence, and he got him by just the slightest bit. Without that defensive move, he would have lost that race. We will watch it all again after we celebrate with his burnout.
That is wild that anyone even got through that crash. But Evans made it count, no doubt. And that is an open victory. No team. He's not a reserve driver for any team either.
Oh, he had to qualify his way in tonight, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He qualified a lot of the open cars qualified far back. He actually qualified 6th tonight, though.
All right, let's go back and watch this last lap.
I'll say earlier on, he was actually listed as a reserve driver for Powerhouse Racing. They're kind of wishing they had that back now.
Yeah, I see Ricky Springer listed as that. We're going to look at this replay of the final lap. It got hairy with JT Poole and Batby. They were trying to push hard, and I can tell you Poole was trying to clear him so he could make a move. But into the turn 1 corner, he gets on the left rear a little too much and turns him in front of everyone. Oh. And Evans and Nichols are the only 2 to really clear it.
Now there's just the calamity. Everyone just trying to make it through, and they're coming full speed.
Oh, Jeremy Miller.
Rear-ended, spinning, careening all over the place down the backstretch. I mean,
Jeremy Miller fly through that? Oh my gosh.
Look at all the bumper parts dancing in the infield.
Oh, there was a couple trucks that, look at the 20.
Swan.
Ryan Swan got up and
He
into
ran-
the fence.
He went through the 70 and the fence. I think that was, yeah.
That's horrific.
5 didn't get away with this one. We still had to look at that crash with Shane Wolf as well, but he got stuck in the fence. There's Miller. Did you see him fly through there?
Well, let's see it from on board.
Whoa!
Holy
Shane
cow!
Wolf again. That was Shane Wolf again. Jeremy's way behind this. I don't think he lifts.
Not till you see Goddard check the flag. Got
I
a
think
little
he's about to
closer.
see
Oh my
God.
gosh!
Oh my God! Watch this!
Whoa!
Oh my gosh! Did he save it? Oh my God!
Holy cow!
Who was that?
What is that? I think it wasn't Van Abel, but it was whoever was right ahead of Michael Van Abel. It's a black truck, whoever it is.
It's the 88, I think.
Sogak. Oh my! He had so many flips last year. He already started the season off. How does this work? Or was it him?
Or it had to have been this or the 98. I think
Oh,
it is.
no, right here with Van Abel.
Oh my
gosh!
Are you kidding me?
And he landed it. He landed it.
I have
That's
never.
something Travis Pastrana would be proud of.
Have you ever?
No, I've never. That was ridiculous. He was
And they
almost
say
through it as well.
They say Alaskans can't fly.
He rode that to, where did he ride that to? He rode that to, he didn't finish well. He finished
Shades of
28th.
Matt
But
Crafton. I mean, what a crazy ride. Let's ride on board with that.
goodness. He's through it. I don't think, yeah, it's just too late at this point. Look at this. Oh, if he could have just
Who
saved
did he
it.
land on?
Van Abel, the 95, is who he ramped off of, and then he landed on him.
Where did the 95 end up?
Oh,
13th.
13th. It worked out better for him. Then he lands on him.
I mean, that's wild. And then let's have a look at the earlier incident that James Shane Wolf had. This is that one.
And he flipped as well. I knew I saw the roof of a truck, and he tumbled once or twice, even 3 times through the grass, and that did not bring out a caution. I think if we back it up, he got a bad bump from the 06 of Spencer Burns, sent him flying, quite literally.
I've never seen a blowover in this simulator not on an 87 car.
That's something they updated with the physics. I could not tell you why. There's Burns. You'll see right here.
Before the race, they bolted down the roof flap so it can create that sort of flip.
We saw Burns turn Patrick Moose, and Shane Wolf was the innocent bystander.
Wow. What a wreck there. Okay, all that aside, let's have a look at the race results, shall we? I mean, what a crazy race. And not a single Ford in the top 10. And the only Toyota, Jonathan Evans.
And what a clutch victory, and what a clutch block on Nichols. We didn't even get a good look at the finish. Yep, Nichols almost had time to 50. He just didn't drive correctly. Maybe got a 4 shooter from Evans, but I think Nichols was like a 7. Matheson, 3rd, Euroshat, Sprayer. Finish.
Yeah, we will go back and look at that finish here. Man, what a crazy top 10 there. We did talk about Adam Capps a lot there, Hunter, but have a look at this 11 through 20.
Yeah, Adam Capps, he's only had 2 top 10s in his area truck career heading into this race. Not even the top 5, so that's his first, well, actually, no, he was 10th. I got ahead of myself. I don't know why I thought he was 5th, but nonetheless, another top 10 for Adam Capps, and a great way to kick off the season. Jeremy Miller just missing out on that top 10 with a great wreck avoidance. Valdez, Venable, Peachin, Eric Weiland, 15th. Tyler Hallman, Lakatos. Chris Seidenfein at one point was dead last in the field, and pretty sure he'll take home a solid 18th place finish. David Weishart and JT Poole at the very front of that last lap crash finishes 20th.
And there's a whole look at all the rest of the Chevrolets in the 21st through 30th bracket. Travis Beckner a lap down, didn't get the result he wanted. Justin Anasogak went for a ride. And we can confirm that he has docked with the International Space Station at 9:42:55 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll hope that he can re-enter safely in a few weeks. Here's where all the Fords ended up. Not a great result there, Connor, for some of those trucks.
a lot of fast drivers did not get deserving results. I see Seth Nolan 36th. Vincent Cortez, usually very fast. He didn't really get a chance tonight, 35th. Mason Kane, Patrick Moose, 34th, 33rd. Rafe Slate, 39th. Shane Wolf, who went for that wild ride twice. He was in the last crash in turn 2 as well. Ends up 40th. And obviously Balliet, he's another, in John Hall. So many drivers who ran top 10, majority of the race did not get finishes they deserved. And Bowie, Slaughter, Ricky Springer, they all had early exits tonight.
Well, with the results out of the way, let's talk with our top 3. Jake Matheson is the driver who finished 3rd tonight. And again, survival on the white flag lap. We got there, and then once you get to it, it's just making sure you get back to the checkers. Pandemonium on the back straightaway. Take us through your race and that last restart.
Well, I mean, I'd rather be lucky than good any day. That's kind of what these super speedway races come down to. So, yeah, crazy wreck out of 2, beautiful wreck out of 2. Went back and watched the replay. Glad we were able to save it and rally it back for P3. Ran pretty modest all day. Nothing really exciting, nothing really flashy. Just was there, right position at the end, and right at home. Good for points. Love to see it.
Jake Matheson from 27th to 3rd in a chaotic last lap race. Jake, thanks for talking to us. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you. Just real quick, I want to thank Area Shop, Alien Gear, Huckett Films, Miller Racing, Front Row Motorsports, and Infinity Communications Group for coming on board this season. So let's go. Love to see it. See you guys.
Thanks, Jake. And it's another Jake that finishes 2nd tonight after surviving the chaotic last lap crash. Jake Nichols comes home 2nd by 21 thousandths of a second. When the smoke cleared out of 2, we see the 73 truck coming, and Jake, you had time to get there. It just, once you started kind of swatting at the leader, couldn't quite find a way around him. Take us through that last lap chase for Jonathan Evans.
It's something else. I mean, we had a great truck. We let a lap early. Our Matt Livery's Sim Rat Market 69 truck. We led early, and I kind of just chilled after that first wreck. I always have that mentality. I just want to survive. If you survive, you have a shot. And I mean, that showed perfect tonight. We just were right there, like close, and then they wrecked, and then close, wrecked again. And it put us in a good spot. I didn't think I was even going to catch him at first because I had no momentum after the crash. I don't know if I got clipped or not. I think Seth told me I might have had right rear damage, but he played it perfect. I wasn't going to be too aggressive. I felt like if I go low and he anticipates it and blocks it, I push him and that's it. So he gave me a lane up top, and I felt like if he doesn't door me, it's my race to lose at that point. But he played it perfect. I'm not, no harsh feelings or anything. That's how you got to do it. Like if he doesn't door me, he loses. So you have to be aggressive. Either way, we'll take it. I mean, I probably average running position throughout that race was probably in the 30s. It felt like, or at least mid 20s. So we'll take a P2 any day of the week. Great points night, just like last night. So we take that and move on to some other racetracks here coming up soon.
It was a great night for you, Jake. Congratulations on a P2. Job well done, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Jonathan Evans started 6th, and man, the seas parted there out of turn 2. And you look up in the mirror and you think you're good for a moment until you see the 73 of Jake Nichols. And if there's anybody to be afraid of in the championship or in a race, it's Jake Nichols. You held him off, got the elbows out to do it, but you win by 21 thousandths of a second after that pandemonium out of turn 2. Take us through your race and that last lap battle.
Oh man, that was incredible. First of all, this was one of the best races I've ever been in. I mean, we were 3 wide, shoulder to shoulder the whole race. These guys definitely know how to drive in this league, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. And just the last restart, I was on the inside. I was pushing Bat B as hard as I could. And then Nichols was right on my back, and they wrecked right in front of me. I haven't seen it. I don't know what happened, but I managed to just hold my line and make it through, and I was just praying. I was just looking in my mirror. I was watching my mirror the whole second half of that last lap, and I gave him a lane to the top because I've been done by the switchback countless times on restrictor plates. So I was like, if I give him the top, I think I'll have a better chance. And he went for it, and it was just a drag race at that point. So it was pretty incredible.
I mean, the three wide that we saw all night long, it was nerve-wracking. We saw the energy level come up pretty high. How challenging is it? You know, there's the new aero modifications that this truck has had. It certainly makes them crash different. We saw some trucks take flight. How challenging was it to navigate the draft tonight, and do you think that'll be a factor this season across more racetracks than just Daytona?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a huge difference this season compared to last season. I mean, this is my first season in the trucks. It's actually my debut race, but I've raced in them before they made the update, and you couldn't generate like as big of a run as you could in the past. So it was much more difficult to kind of back off and generate those runs. But yeah, about 10 laps in, I felt I had it under control, and I was feeling much more confident. So yeah.
Well, hey, job well done. Here's that battle to the checkers. 21 thousandths of a second. There were some tight fights behind as well, down to about 24 thousandths for 16th place. It was a great night to watch racing, and Jonathan Evans is your winner from the Truck Series here at Daytona. Jonathan, congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, guys. Wow. That was a heck of a night of racing, and we had a couple yellows along the way. Statistics tell us we've had 4 for only 12 laps out of the 90 that we ran. But the curious thing to me, 20 leaders, 41 lead changes. But Connor, both last night and tonight, scheduled distance. Does that bode well for Thursday night?
I think it should, but I gotta say I'm shocked how these two races have played out yesterday and tonight. In my opinion, I thought this would be the calm race, and yesterday would have been pretty crazy with how the packages differentiate, but it was kind of the opposite. We were pretty calm race yesterday, and today everything broke loose. A lot of cautions, a lot of crashes that didn't bring out yellows, and a lot of beating and banging. At the end of the day, we got a decent 4-lap run to the finish, but obviously kind of like how Anna Sogak won the Pro Series race season 4. Everyone wrecked in turns 1 and 2, and he was almost the only one. Jonathan Evans was almost the only one to get through the entire field, but he did have to face the champion of the former champion, Jake Nichols, Hunter, and he did a great job holding them off. That was impressive.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I was able to watch this race from start to finish. Holy cow, what a finish that was. And I mean, your first ever area start, you're in a good spot. The C's part, and then you look in your rearview mirror, you got Jake Nichols, and not to mention he wasn't too far back, but Jake Matheson as well, the defending truck champ. And he was able to hold them off. So props to Jonathan Evans winning in his first ever area truck start. Kyle, got a good feeling about the Truck Series this season.
Oh, it's going to be a great one, and the entries are absolutely stacked. That means so is the talent. You know, it's some people will say, well, it's not about quantity, it's quality, but you get quality from having competition. You need quantity to do just that, and what a great race it was. 80 laps, or 90 laps of racing, in fact, here at Daytona. But this is only Series 2 of 3 that we're going racing on this track here this week. It's the Florida State Builders Pro Series. On Thursday night, the Xfinity car returns. The Class B car is back on Sim TV on Thursday night. And if past history is of anything of any note, that race is going to be just as good, if not even better, than what we've seen so far. Big thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight, and appreciate everyone joining us. So we'll hope to see you on Thursday as well at 8:45 Eastern Time. I'm Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn and Hunter Sleppy. All 3 of us will join you again on Thursday. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time here from Sim TV.